Hi, my name is Burl Haigwood, and I'm with Presidio Federal. Presidio Federal and Cisco are excited to bring you our fifth and final short briefing in our series, The Real Deal About IoT for Federal Agencies. I'm here with Emory Miller. Emory is leading Cisco's federal IoT OT team. Today, we're going to learn more about OT networks, critical infrastructure, and securing the mission. Emory, what does the government mean when they use the term critical infrastructure?
Yeah, I think the term critical infrastructure is obviously in the news a lot today in light of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But I think within the federal government, the term may not fully be understood. So if we just turn straight to what CISA says, so CISA has 16 different sectors that they define as critical infrastructure, and the government facilities sector is one of them. So I won't read this to you because, if you're interested, you can go to the CISA website and learn more how they define it. But it's really all of the buildings that the government uses to conduct its business, whether they're open to the public, closed, but they contain, mission critical information, processes, and equipment. So I think we should all agree that the government sector contains critical infrastructure, and then also agree that critical infrastructure is under threat. A lot of the attacks that people were warning about would happen haven't publicly happened in the past 2 months. But if you just hear Jen Easterly speak, we have to maintain the shields up posture, which is her term for this increased awareness, because the threat hasn't gone down and still remains out there. So in order to think through this, I like to stick with the experts, and to me, that's the NSA and CISA, and they published a joint advisory advising critical infrastructure operators to do a few things immediately. So the first is to map out your operational technology networks. So these are the networks that run the critical infrastructure. Continuously monitor those networks, and then start working on hardening them, and then finally develop and exercise a plan. And so Cisco and Presidio Federal have built a team where we can help you with this. And one of the first things that we would recommend is installing a visibility tool like Cisco Cybervision. So not to spend too much time on the product, but Cybervision is a relatively lightweight deep packet inspection software tool that runs on-prem in your critical infrastructure environments to provide you visibility of every asset that you have within your environment, what firmware version it has, whether it's been patched, whether there is a published CVE associated with it, and to tie it to that CISA and NSA guidelines, there's your map. Immediately upon installing the software, you get your map. And then the tool starts monitoring the behavior to establish baselines, which then you can deviate from. So this is kind of the starting point that gets you maybe, I don't know how far, 80% there, because you can't protect anything that you can't see or that you don't know you have. So visibility is the first step. And we would love to talk with you more about Cisco Cybervision. Does that answer your question,
Yeah,
Burl?
yeah. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and it amazes me. And I've seen some of the GA reports, and I've spoken with GAO, and a lot of people just don't know what assets they have. So that is an amazing first step. So how does this term apply to federal agencies and their leaders?
Well, I mean, the simple answer is that I think most federal agencies will have critical infrastructure within their purview, whether or not it's part of the enterprise IT domain or not. That's a key question. So, who is responsible for operating these networks, securing these networks, making sure that they're complying with this executive order? That's kind of the first question that I would ask. But as we talked about before, and as CISA defines it, closed circuit television cameras for physical security, that's critical infrastructure. Probably HVAC systems for a data center, that's probably critical infrastructure, because if it goes down, it affects your ability to successfully execute your mission.
Fascinating. I can completely see the concerns of CISA and the whole Shields Up initiative. An amazing vulnerability. So how can we help leaders modernize and secure these networks?
And I think it begins with a conversation. So there's a lot of great information out in the environment. There's a lot of great visibility tools. Cisco Cybervision isn't the only one. There are other ones too. You can go to Cisco Design Zone and download this industrial security design guide and work through it on your own. You can download it for free. Or you can use a technology partner like Presidio Federal and Cisco to help you walk through it. And this is an example of where we can help you go from minimal security, which may just be a firewall, all the way to full spectrum security, which is a segmented, full visibility, maybe an integrated IT, OT environment. And this guide is additive. So the investments you make build off of the others, and they tie to very common regulatory frameworks. So, this is an example of you can start thinking about this yourself, or you can leverage your technology partners to have a guided conversation to help you begin that journey.
Yeah, that's like Zero Trust. This is going to be another journey on the OT side of the house, and I think it's your point is great. It starts with a conversation, and so how are you going to help with your team, and how does that conversation work?
Your first point of contact is normally your account manager, your Cisco account manager, but behind that account manager, you have a plethora of resources of subject matter experts. So myself and my TSAs can come with our partners with Presidio Federal to help you understand just what's in your environment, what is the current state, and then where do you want to go from there, and then what is the simplest path to get you from your current state to your future expected state.
It's all about filling in those gaps.
Yeah.
We want to thank everybody for joining us. We hope you take advantage of our Shields Up team that we put in place, the other resources, the link we have in front of you. Please contact us so we can learn more about your challenges. Feel free to share any ideas that you have that will help keep us all safe and secure in this rapidly changing world of IoT and OT. Emory, you have been a wealth of information. You have made me smarter than when I started. I always appreciate your advice and counsel.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Burl, and thank you everyone for joining.